Vidéo of Baham now occupy the leadership stool of the League One Football Championship as they trash AS Fortuna 4-2 in the local football championship as the local football championship engages the second phase. After the election of regional councillors, misunderstandings between council and divisional officials and the lack of finance delay the complete functioning of these regional councils. Former CRTV's radio newscaster Pascal MEBE died this morning at the age of 67 in Yaoundé after an illness. Good evening and welcome to the 7:30 News. I am Benin Bumagana in Yaoundé.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
We open up with sports this evening. Yaoundé Foot today lost 1-2 to visiting Avion Academy at the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium in an Elite One football action. This is in Group A. Avion's 2-1 victory stops two consecutive losses against Edingspor de la Leke and Vidéo of Baham. Highlights of today's matches with Daniel Ekonde.
8th-placed Avion Academy needed the 2-1 win to weed out their poor run of two straight defeats in Group A of the Elite One. Meanwhile, Yaoundé Foot only confirmed they will need a strong comeback in the second phase of the league. The match got on with a 4th-minute steal from Avion attacker Ako Alexis, whose weak shot couldn't trouble their footkeeper Ismael Michel. Avion continued the counter and scared their opponents with a series of strikes. On 22 minutes, they got it right as skipper Rodrigue Mfege forced a penalty. He was happy to put Avion in the front seat with a 1-0 lead. 13 minutes on, they missed doubling the score when keeper Michel found himself wanting in his own box. But their foot kept their woes over them to win a penalty, brilliantly taken by Emmanuel Aminye. But the equalizer was short-lived as Avion's Alexis netted a thumping header to take back the lead to 2-1. In the second segment came a series of openings for Yafoot, but they lacked the will and power to get the desired result. Avion's 2-1 win can possibly take them to top half of Group A, while Yafoot will continue reeling at the bottom.
And in Group B, Vidéo of Baham are now leaders of the ongoing League One Football Championship with 18 points after their 4-2 victory against AS Fortuna in the Day 10 action at the Omnisport Stadium in Yaoundé. Baldwin Sama has highlights of that match.
Lost at home to visiting Vidéo Club of.
A disappointing defeat for AS Fortuna of Yaoundé, putting an end to the team's series of victories in the ongoing Elite One Football Championship. Vidéo of Baham, dressed in white, thanks to Gabon Dombo at the 11th minute of play, benefited from lack of concentration in AS Fortuna's defense to open scores.
Kick up the ball, heads go higher, an opportunity for Baham.
With a 1-0 lead, Vidéo of Baham mounted pressure that paid off a few minutes later thanks to this beautiful goal by Victor Menge. Down by 2 goals, AS Fortuna of Yaoundé came from behind to reduce tally thanks to this powerful shot from Bertrand Essian. Both teams went on recess on a 2-1 lead for Vidéo of Baham. Upon resumption for the second half, Vidéo of Baham benefited from lack of concentration in AS Fortuna's defense and a blunder from goalkeeper Minko. Vidéo of Baham scored her 3rd goal thanks to Victor Menge. This goal conceded did not discourage AS Fortuna that retaliated minutes later with a 2nd goal by Manuel Frank Beken. Vidéo of Baham crucified AS Fortuna during the last minutes of the match with a 4th goal scored by Vincent Chamba. With a 4-2 win, Fofo of Baham now tops Group B of the league standings with 18 points, same number of points with AS Fortuna of Yaoundé.
Thank you very much, Baldwin Sama. Now let's talk something different, and this time we're talking about the World Press Freedom Day that comes up at the start of next week. And Victor Siga says just ahead of that, the pressmen are already preparing on their work and seeing into what to do when the day comes. Victor Siga.
According to media practitioners, the notion of freedom of press in Cameroon is quite complex. They attribute this to the treatment given many journalists.
It would be a fallacy to say that there is complete press freedom in Cameroon. We have a lot of issues that put a list of control around the neck of the press, so we cannot be talking about freedom. You cannot be talking about freedom in a country where you have criminal defamation, where we don't have access to information.
With the sector already weakened by the COVID-19 pandemic, professionals advance the enactment of a law that provides journalists with free access to information as a possible solution to the issue. This given that most journalists still suffer from innocent professional victimization.
The authorities should stop impunity. There should also be the abrogation of criminal defamation. We cannot also have a vibrant press that does not have support from the government. On our own part, as journalists, we need to go back to the drawing board to make sure that we reorganize the profession, because journalists don't speak with one voice.
Journalists must be protected for them to properly carry out their work.
In regards to the theme of the World Press Freedom Day, information as a public good, a theme that serves as a call to affirm the importance of cherishing information as a public good, and exploring what can be done in the protection, distribution and reception of content to strengthen journalism and to advance transparency and empowerment while leaving no one behind.
A conflict of competence between the Yaoundé City Mayor and the Mayor of Yaoundé 7 has left tongues wagging. Luc Messi Atangana and Augustin Tamba are discorded on the roles and jurisdiction of influence following the former demolition of the construction site destined for 60 shops in the Yaoundé 7 council area. Is Formuso reports on the rift between the two and ongoing efforts to bring both men to a compromise.
Face off, a power struggle is brewing as Yaoundé City Mayor faces an increasingly assertive city council intent on taking a front seat on city initiatives. Last April 22, the Yaoundé City Mayor demolished a construction site of 60 shops within the Yaoundé 7 council area. This was a project of the Mayor of Yaoundé 7. On the other hand, the Yaoundé City Mayor justifies the demolition for not respecting construction standards, origin of the food. I would like to let you know that your file is not eligible for a building permit because the construction site is situated on a public space. Conflict of competence and roles, misunderstanding, little or no mastery of job description of a city mayor and council mayor puts both men at loggerheads. I acted in strict respect of the text of which I am a guarantor.
Je voudrais rappeler que
I would like to remind you that Article 2 of our code stipulates that councils are equal, none has power over the other.
aucune mairie n'exerce la tutelle sur une autre.
The senior divisional officer of the Fundi, who heads the commission, comes into the picture to play the role of a referee.
It is just a simple problem of dialogues. They have to put together their effort so that they will not act in the ground. The one is going there, the other one is going there.
The commission that is tasked with the job of resolving the conflict will sit on May 4 for an arbitration and hopefully the end of the tussle.
Thank you very much, Is Formuso. Now, CRTV's Constantine Bomb says as the decentralization process is gradually taking shape, many of such conflicts of competence will come up But with a strict respect of the general code of the regional and local authorities, these kind of conflicts will be avoided. Constantine Baum.
Going by Section 250, subdivisional councils shall exercise all the powers devolved to councils by law, save for those explicitly devolved to city councils in Section 241. Article 3 of Section 250 clearly outlines the powers of the subdivisional council. It says, in any case, the powers of councils shall concern projects relating to the grassroots and daily life of the inhabitants, infrastructure transferred to the subdivisional council, built or managed by the latter, as well as infrastructure which, on account of their purpose and geographical location, are open mainly for use by the populations of the subdivisional council concerned. According to Section 241, Article 1, the City Council shall have jurisdiction over any action pertaining to inter-council collaboration, major works, and structuring projects. Section 252 gives the Subdivisional Council Board a platform to express its opinion whenever requested by the City Council on matters relating to the council concern. The consultations provided for in Section 1 shall be mandatory for any project of general interest to be implemented in full or in part on its territory. Except in cases of consultation, the Subdivisional Council Board may not deliberate on a power devolved to the City Council, and in case of consultation, the deliberations of the Subdivisional Council Board may not be repugnant to those of the City Council Board. The big line is drawn by Article 3 of Section 252, which says, where the Subdivisional Council Board adopts a deliberation that goes counter to that of the City Council, the resolution of the Subdivisional Council shall be automatically null and void.
The president of the Northwest House of Chiefs, Fon Yakum Kevin, has stated that the special status allocated for the Northwest and Southwest regions can only impact the lives of the population once concrete development projects are effectively carried out in the concerned regions. Fon Yakum Kevin declared during a workshop in Bamenda that their major challenge is the lack of a budget for the structure, which has largely been inactive since its inception months ago. Karin Tosan reports.
The Northwest Regional Council went operational over 4 months ago, yet the absence of a budget has prevented them from carrying out development projects. Bureau members argue that transformation in the region can only be achieved if the guidelines of the special status are clearly defined.
We would want to effectively get the feasibility of the special status written clearly so that each and everyone who lays hands on what the Regional Assembly is doing should be able to see and read the special status.
Officials from the Ministry of Decentralization have reassured that the special status offers the two English-speaking regions an opportunity to participate in national policy making.
They are the only two regions that may participate in the formulation of national policy when it comes to the educational system, the legal system, and the third, matters of history and culture.
The Northwest Regional Council is counting on the adoption of the institution's budget for effective actions to take off.
A PhD thesis presented by Emmanuel Lingok from the University of Yaoundé has focused on decentralization of education as a new method of developing the educational institution and bringing the school closer to the local council. Data collected revealed that there are inadequacies in the material equipment, personnel, and state subsidies. Gerald Nanji Eyambe tells us more about this thesis.
The decentralization of education in Cameroon, between reforms and the transfer of competencies to local actors of the Mesondo municipality, was the PhD thesis defended by Emmanuel Lingok. He argues the resources mobilized to make schools efficient in Mesondo, a locality in the Central region, have unfortunately not produced the quality of teaching nor the logistical environment of learners. The candidate therefore proposed that the state should devolve power so that the communities will be able to manage their human, natural and socio-economic potentials.
Decentralization of education must be constructed by the local realities. I choose Mesondo because this municipality has many resources.
When you see the way he has analyzed it in his work, you will find that, some of the problems that are raised up in the document are very concrete and very present in our daily life.
Owing to the added value of his work, the candidate was found worthy to be awarded a PhD in sociology.
Congratulations, sir. The Garoua City Council and the 3 sub-divisional councils are working together through regular weekly meetings for the well-being of the population. They have been exchanging views on their work and other areas of competence as outlined in the General Code of Regional and Local Authorities. Tony Nanyongo spoke to some elected council officials on their work and pieced the following report.
In one of the North Regional Capital Garoua's largest business hubs, customers throng the loincloth sector daily. Large shops are observed shelving out loads of these prized African fabrics, especially the imported variety. I love these fabrics. The colors are beautiful and so many that I am at a loss as to what to choose. The inundation of markets with imported fabrics has, however, hit hard on the output of local manufacturers, particularly the Cameroon cotton industry SICAM and its subsidiary, Lacking Textile. The situation has been worsening for the past 20 years. Some of our machines can't produce optimally as before as a result of their gradually being outdated. Our functioning till date is thanks to our ingenuity and applied strategies. We hope the state comes to our aid speedily. The government, through one of its main regulatory organs, the Ministry of Trade, has undertaken to shelter and fortify its domestic production and transformation sectors.
When we encounter such a product, what we do is to find those counterfeiters or those who bring in our country this type of product.
The overriding hope is that an equilibrium is found and imposed to lend wings to local production and hence speed up socio-economic development.
Unfortunately, that was not the report, but we're definitely going to be getting Tony Nanyongo talk to us about how the councillors are working for the well-being of their citizens. Cameroon's government ambition in the next 10 years is to produce 110,000 tons of cotton fiber per annum to boost the cotton textile fabrication sector. The Ministry of the Economy, Planning and Regional Development has been farmers to attain these objectives. For more, here is Ewane Epole.
Cameroon textile fabrication sector is categorized among the regions of growth in Cameroon. The production units involved in the various subsectors employ about 66,600 persons. In this area, the country has several advantages and know-how through subcontractors, craftsmen, dressmakers, fashion designers, and master tailors, among others. Cameroon government's ambition is to locally transform all the cotton fiber produced, which is about 110,000 tons per annum in the next 10 years. The aim is to move the rate of local transformation from 2% to 10% by the year 2030. Mindful of the difficulties faced by those operating in the sector, notably SICAM factory in Garoua that is presently owing Sodo Cotton a bill of 2 billion CFA francs. In this regard, the Ministry of Economy, Planning and Regional Development, MINEPAD, is sparing no effort with regard to granting assistance to promote the emergence of growth-inducing initiatives. This is expected to help encourage private investment promotion, whereby stimulating economic growth through the production of cotton and the transformation of raw material into finished products.
The distribution of premiums to cocoa farmers has ended, with producers confessing that the boost will greatly improve their yields here in the central region. During the distribution exercise in Yaoundé, cocoa farmers were called upon to maintain quality in order to keep the sector sustainable and profitable. Clarice Aretakang reports.
It has also been decided to support the producer. This goal is fulfilled.
Profitability and sustainability are the two issues at stake for those of the sector, but equally for the state. The goal to attain is to do better, as Cameroon is amongst the main cocoa producing giants in the world.
We have undertaken to build an excellent center. This is also an element, an aspect to help us to improve the quality and the market, in particular the chocolate maker.
The quality requirement for access to cocoa market is non-negotiable. Growers are thus challenged to do even more in order to reap more fruits from their labor.
The National Gendarmerie Road Safety Task Force has acquired state-of-the-art equipment to enable them clarify doubting road users caught for overspeeding. The team was on the Yaoundé-Douala National Road number 3 for business and tracked down so many defaulters. Kilian Ndifon reports.
Third-generation road safety equipment, specialized motorcycles and radar-linked printer brought the recalcitrant driver of this pickup to reason on Yaoundé-Douala National Road number 3 Saturday.
You have 2 offenses: disrespect of speed limit, 25,000, and refusal to stop when halted at the checkpoint, 25,000 CFA francs. You have 2 options. Either you pay the 50,000 CFA francs, or we take your statement and send your file to the competent judicial authorities.
It is like delinquent road users cannot avoid accident-prone infringements.
The same offenses, disrespect of speed limit and overused tires are the common infringements on our highways.
The Road Safety Task Force is rigorous on the respect of COVID-19 barrier measures.
We have face masks, we have alcoholic gel. Our staff work with hand gloves to protect themselves and road users. We also control vehicles to ensure the respect of barrier measures.
Respect the highway code, observe COVID-19 barrier measures, stay away from criminal behavior, and you will be a friend of the National Gendarmerie Road Safety Task Force.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
Let's get into the second counter of this newscast and talk about our fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. Doctors at the Nkongsamba Referral Hospital are encouraging inhabitants of Nkongsamba to continue visiting the hospital for any health concerns. The encouragement comes after a drop in the number of persons visiting the hospital since the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic. Baldwin Sama is now standing by at the Nkongsamba Regional Hospital to tell us more. Hello, Baldwin.
Good evening to you, Benin Bumagana. After we had the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic in Cameroon and especially in Nkongsamba last year, there has been a drop in the number of patients who visit this regional hospital here in Nkongsamba for fear of being infected with the coronavirus. Let's find out from our guest tonight, Dr. George Nkwele Amangala. He is the director of the Nkongsamba Regional Hospital. Good evening to you, Doctor.
Good evening, Baldwin.
Explain to us what has been the situation ever since we had the outbreak of the COVID-19 here in Nkongsamba at the level of the Nkongsamba Regional Hospital.
Our problem since we started this phase of coronavirus situation, the real problem we had is the lack of frequentation of the hospital. It's happened that most of the quick patients we are receiving now are the patient with a bad stage, patient coming with a bad stage of their disease. Maybe because they are fearing to come to the hospital at the beginning, they are fearing because of the situation of coronavirus. And we have a lot of problem to face with this situation. That is why we ask for you as communicator to try to communicate and to try to inform the patient that it's important to have the first stage to have at the hospital the first stage, to have patients in their first stage of disease. At that time we may do something, but when people comes when they are already at the worst stage of their disease, we may have a lot of problems. So we really count on you. We really want you people to help and communicate about the situation that we face.
Thank you so much, Dr. George Nkwele Mangala, Director for the Kongsamba Regional Hospital. The take-home message from here is that they are encouraging more and more inhabitants of Kongsamba, those who are sick, come to the hospital and have yourself treated and avoid coming at the last minute when your situation is so really critical. Back to you, Benin Bumagana.
And thank you very much, Baldwin Sama van Cayman. And now Cameroon's new ambassador to Italy, Sebastien Fuman, has presented his letters of credence to the Italian President Sergio Mattarella. Sebastien Fuman was appointed by presidential decree as ambassador extraordinary and plenipotentiary to Italy. That was in October last year. The Catholic Men Association of the St. Peter and Paul Anglophone Parish Simbok have organized a special church service to evaluate their financial activities for this year. The Catholic Men's Association are preparing for their upcoming General Assembly in July. Alice May tells us more about that meeting.
Over 500 Christians of the St. Peter and Paul Anglophone Parish Simbok took part in a special church service organized by the Men's Association to evaluate their financial and spiritual plans for the year 2021.
It's for us to come and discuss our normal diocesan CMA activities, which we usually have after every 3 months. But what is peculiar with this diocesan meeting we are having this Sunday is the fact that we are preparing for an upcoming national CMA meeting, which we as a diocese will be hosting the other dioceses here in Yaoundé.
The upcoming National Congress in July will constitute national elections and elections at the level of the branches. They have as mission to share the virtues of humanity, responsibility, love, and serve the church the same way St. Joseph did.
Former CRTV's 1 p.m. radio news presenter Pascal MEBE has died in Yaoundé at the age of 67. Pascal MEBE will be remembered for his great voice and command of the news. His legacy in this report by Kilian Ndifon.
Born in 1954 at Kolavolo near Ese in the Center region, the retired CRTV journalist died at the age of 67. He studied in the Akonomino Seminary and Makak Sacred Heart College, then the first stage of the doctorate degree at the University of Yaoundé, before his recruitment in the then Radio Cameroon in the early 1980s, mentored many who are today's CRTV flag bearers.
Very rigorous and very demanding for himself and for the others. All the people who worked with Pascal MEBE will tell you that he was very friendly as a collaborator or as a boss.
He was a legendary presenter of the primetime 1 p.m. news on CRTV.
When you listen to Pascal MEBE papers, what you saw that it was very structured as papers. And even in verifying information, in writing information, he was very strict and very precise.
The late icon of the microphone was also a live inspiration and guide to his own family.
What we keep as legacy from him is he was a symbol of humility.
He's a man of faith, hardworking and generous. Even in his dying hours.
At his death, Pascal MEBE was a choir leader in the Queen of Mary Basilica Mvolier and teacher in several higher institutions of learning in Yaoundé, among which the Ngoya St. Cyprian Faculty of Theology and Colbison Catholic University Institute.
May his soul rest in perfect peace. Last homage has also been paid to late Professor Lazare Kaptue, co-founder of the Université de Montagne and mayor of the Ndemdeng Council, who passed away last April 12. President Paul Biya's representative at the burial in Ndemdeng is the Minister of State, Minister of Higher Education, Professor Jacques Famdongo. Chair Tebok reports from the West Region.
A medal of distinction, the Grand Cordon of the Cameroon Order of Merit, conferred posthumously by the President of the Republic on the former mayor of Ndemdeng Council, Professor Lazare Kaptue, in recognition of his marvelous contribution to society.
The President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Biya, is very satisfied by the work, the fantastic work done by Professor Lazare Kaptue.
A pontifical high requiem mass is also set, in which the Archbishop of Garoua, His Grace Emeritus Jean Talou, those who knew Professor Kaptue one way or the other, then took to the rostrum and delivered moving eulogies.
Founding members of UCC that from 2003 to 2020, he was the Secretary General of this movement.
The academic peers of Kaptue had gone through the same exercise previously at the Esplanade of the Université de Montagne in Bangante.
He did a lot for medical sciences. He did a lot for technology. He did a lot for engineering.
Kaptue's death stunned the West region and way beyond, and his funeral matched the dimension of his personality.
Thank you for following the 7:30 news. At 8:30, Alta Badinoma will be here with the news. See you next week. Tomorrow, Monday, you will welcome Esther Kima.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
CRTV News, ici, toute l'info.